My goodness, I know last time we made the meme about how the Nashville Predators cannot develop forward prospects, how guys seem to be doing better when they leave the organization if they happen to be goal-scoring, playmaking forwards. When it comes to defense and goaltending, Nashville's got that on lock, and they've been very good at developing those types of talents over the years. But forwards? Hell no. I know we kind of joked around about that, but now it really feels like that may be coming to fruition as being just the gosh darn cold hard truth. And the reason we're saying that is because when you head over to the most recent waiver wire loss that the Nashville Predators face at the hands of the Seattle Kraken, Eeli Tolvanen, there was an article earlier in the Hockey News from Tolvanen himself, or not from him, but it was an interview with him, that talks about the differences between Seattle and Nashville and the way they wanted to develop him. So, without further ado, let's head back over to the Seattle Kraken, take a look at the newest waiver wire pickup in Tolvanen, go over his profile, go over the success he's had as of late, and talk about this article published. When was this piece made? Let's take a look at it here. So, January 16th, 4 days ago, published by Jacob Stoller. So, I'll leave a link in the description if you want to go ahead and read this, but for now, Eeli Tolvanen admittedly has had a little bit of a slump ever since the last time we had talked about him. Now, sure, he is still a young dude, he's 23 years old, 5'10", 192 as a left-handed sniper, as we had said, signed till the end of 2024 at $1.4 million a season. But he does have 7 points in 11 games with the Seattle Kraken. 4 points in 13 games was his point production metric with Nashville. And unfortunately, at the time of recording this audio, Tolvanen has gone pointless in his last 3 games against New Jersey, Edmonton, and Tampa Bay. He had 0 points in all of those, but the games before that saw him put up quite a few points. So if you take the sample that he has had of 7 points in 11 games played and you remove the most recent 3 games, you have 7 points in 8 games, which is a lot better, but I mean, of course, it's kind of difficult to go out there and justify cherry-picking individual parts of a guy's year, but as we had talked about prior to, Tolvanen was always known as a perimeter volume shooter who had a really good shot, and if you capitalized on that shot, you could get a guy that could maybe pot 20 goals in a season consistently because his power play one-timer, his on-the-rush snipe, they were just that gosh darn good. And the Kraken, immediately after inserting Tolvanen into their lineup, really expanded on that. He was going out there and creating rebounds, he was going out there and sniping it. It was great to see that flexibility wasn't really there with Nashville. And Tolvanen himself goes out there and pretty much confirms that in this The Hockey News article. Eeli Tolvanen enjoys the fit in Seattle after mixed messaging in Nashville. He said his role varied between the checker and the scorer in Nashville, and now he's happy with his fit in Seattle, and the points reflect that. As we had said, link in the description if you want to go ahead and read this article yourself. Take a look at the quotes mentioned in this piece. "This could be a mistake on our part," David Poile said in an interview with 1025 The Game. That was actually the comment and a few more that we had talked about in another video, the last one on the channel talking about Tolvanen, but sometimes all it comes down to is the fit with any given team. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work, and Poile said time will tell if they gave him enough opportunities and if they should have played him higher in the lineup. That's on me if he turns out to be really successful, but we really felt we tried him in a lot of different areas, different places. We were really hoping that he'd be able to go through waivers and that he'd be able to play in the AHL for a little bit, and then we could bring him back up. And then you have yourselves the comments made by Tolvanen himself. "I always knew that I had the skill and all the details that they wanted," Tolvanen said to the Hockey News on Friday. "But you know, I was just getting bottom 6 usage on the 4th line. I felt like if I would have gotten a better opportunity this year, it could have paid off. Last year was more like wanting me to be more physical, more defensive, good in all 3 zones, and I felt like I did that." And, you know, of course, it's not a bad thing for a team to go out there and say to a player who is primarily a scorer, "We want you to work on your defensive game, we want you to work on your board play, we want you to work on your neutral zone play." That's fair to ask out of any player. But attached above in the article is Eeli Tolvanen's isolated impact charts, and you could see that based off of his overall profile, I mean, the guy is doing pretty well at even strength. And Mika Blake says, "I don't know why he's on waivers, I would claim him in a heartbeat." There are also comments made by other people, like, for example, Cody Glass, who goes out there and says he doesn't play a small game. Tolvanen hits and he's fast. He's a very skilled two-way forward, which people don't notice that much, and that's something I love about his game. And that's coming from Cody Glass, a guy who was touted for being a two-way beast the entire time he was heading into the 2017 draft. Tolvanen is being praised by this guy for his own two-way game. And now it's like, okay, well, even though he does play well, he just doesn't get any opportunities. The Predators don't use him. Sometimes, Tolvanen said, the Predators wanted me to be the checker, then one night they wanted me to be the goal scorer, so it kind of messed with my head. You then had yourselves comments made by John Hines talking about the situation here. I wouldn't say that anything went wrong in Nashville with Tolvanen. He's a power play guy, and if you look at the last year, we used him quite a bit in our top 6. Last year, we had a top 5 power play, so he wasn't able to get as many looks. But the Predators' power play is 28th in the NHL this season, and while he spent some time in the first unit, Nashville deployed him primarily in the left point instead of where he's most lethal, as a one-timer man on the right side. And it's kind of funny how the Hockey News article goes out there and completely contradicts the John Hines quote right away. I'm really happy everything's been going really well so far in Seattle, Tolvanen said. Getting the ice time in the Kraken system and trust from the coaches, that's been paying off. There are also some quotes from Matt Duchene talking about how different players and different fits, different teams could bring out different results and everything. It's a pretty good read, honestly. Again, the link is in the description if you want to go ahead and read this, but ultimately what this Eeli Tolvanen situation shows to us is pretty much that when it comes to development and deployment, it really not just is a matter of how the player decides his fate and progresses on his own, but it's also a matter of the team putting him in the right position to succeed and actually allowing him to expand on his assets. John Hines says, yeah, we played him on the power play, but you didn't play him on the spot where he's actually dangerous. Tolvanen played 11 games with Seattle, but already he's got multiple of those power play goals where he's just on the side, one-timing it in. Like, this is kind of what he was known for. But unfortunately, the Predators did not do too much with that. So ultimately, the Predators can really develop defensemen and goalies, but for forwards, I'm not really too sure how that's going to persist in the next few years. I mean, you still have other guys that are coming in here that could be pretty good forwards as well. Tanner Jeannot is the newer one that has been pretty alright, not to mention Cody Glass, who is still trying to find his way, I feel, as a first-line, two-way caliber center, which is what he was supposed to be back when he was drafted in 2017. But other than that, Eeli Tolvanen, this entire situation over here, this may serve as a benchmark for future reference when it comes to how goal-scoring European forwards who are very good one-timer options in the power play are not able to just plug and play in other ways. I mean, sure, you could tell him to work on his defensive game, and when you're getting praise like Tolvanen is, it's probably fair to say that he did improve his defensive game, but you gotta be able to reward guys for doing what it is that you ask of them, and for Tolvanen, that just did not happen, and so now it's interesting seeing how in an immediately new situation he is already so much better. But Todd of the Con, either way, all your thoughts about Tolvanen and the comments that he had made about the Nashville Predators and their development. Do you agree, disagree? Do you think he has a point? If you're a Predators fan, what did you see out of the way Tolvanen was developed as a member of your organization? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. 9 and bye.